Hello, class. Happy Wednesday. Hope you guys are having a fun day. Hope you had a good lunch. I certainly miss you, but you guys are in good hands today. You have my better half, Mrs. Moore, who is subbing. It's actually her first time subbing high school today. She normally helps out at our kids' school. So make sure you be nice to her. Make sure you make her feel welcome. It's also a good opportunity for you guys to kind of find out more about business ownership. She owns a very successful photography company, so she could answer questions about that. She is everywhere in Westfield, all right? She runs the Westfield Moms Facebook group, so I'm sure a lot of your moms might know her from that. She also volunteers with just a ton of different organizations here in the city. So if you have any questions about ownership, any questions about what's going on in the city, what you can do to kind of help you as a high school student, she's there to help you out. So don't be afraid to ask her questions. If you want to find out personal stuff about me, you can ask her that. I've given her strict boundaries on what she can and cannot say, so hopefully she'll follow those. But she's awesome. So use her as a resource, even if it's not this class related. She's there to answer your questions, so don't be afraid to ask her anything you might want. As far as class today goes, we are covering management. So we're in the entrepreneurship section, which means we are looking at owning businesses, but not everyone wants to do that, right? Not everyone wants to take that risk on. So another thing that you can look at if you're going into business is kind of climbing the ladder and becoming a manager. Even as a business owner too. I mean, you're a manager, right? You're managing a ton of different things as a business owner. So management, even if you're not an entrepreneur, if you are an entrepreneur, very important part of the overall structure of a company. So by definition, management is just the responsibility for and control of a company or organization. So within that, we look at four different things. We look at planning, we look at organizing, we look at leading, we look at controlling, and we'll kind of go over all of those in a minute. The purpose of management is simply to help a business focus on setting and meeting goals efficiently and effectively, right? So as a company, you set your goals, you need people there to help meet those. Take the rock shop, for example. If we did not have someone managing the rock shop and I just let you guys go at it, do you think things would get done? No, right? It'd be chaos. So managers kind of help their employees stay focused, make sure that the company is running smoothly. More importantly, making money, right? That's the whole purpose of a business. So good management really relies on four things. The first one is planning. All right. So planning is just creating goals and objectives and executing those goals and objectives. So again, you can't be a successful business if you don't have goals. The goals can't be met if you don't have management, right? You have to have someone executing those goals, making sure things are being followed through. Good managers normally develop strategies, right? So you're involved in that process, right? How to meet those goals, what you think the best plan of action would be to meet that. And then you're also determining what resources are needed, right? Because as a manager, your staff's going to need different things to make them successful, kind of help determine what those needs are. As a good manager, also organizing and staffing, right? So this is getting the resources arranged in an orderly and functional way, right? Making sure your employees have the resources they need, but also making sure that it makes sense the way they're getting it. You're also hiring people, right? So you're hiring people that you think would be a good fit for what you're trying to do. You're also buying equipment to help those people succeed. Good managers are leaders, and I think this is one of the most important parts of this, is to be a good manager, you really need to be a good leader. And so this means providing direction, all right? It means leading by example. So many times you'll hear your bosses say or your team leader say, I would never ask an employee to do something that I wouldn't do myself, right? And think about teachers, think about bosses think about people in high up positions. The ones that you respect the most are the ones that you see kind of talking the talk, right? When they say they're going to do something, they do it. They're the people that are more hands-on. They're the people focused on really helping you out versus just barking orders at you and telling you what to do. Another part of leading is delegating. So what delegating means is assigning tasks to other people. So if you're a business owner, if you're a manager, do you think that you have a lot on your plate? Do you think you have a lot of different things you have to do? Yeah, of course, right? So they need to delegate. The good leaders have to be able to hand that work off to other people. They have to realize that I can't do this all myself. I have a staff. I need to make sure that I can give my staff an assignment. They'll take it. They'll do a good job, right? So that's delegating. And that can be hard to do, right? Especially if you own a business, because you just assume you know what you're doing. You assume that you're going to do better than everyone else. It's kind of hard to delegate and give that work to someone else. But to be successful, to keep your sanity, you have to be able to delegate. Set standards, so kind of like rules for your business. And not only are you setting those, you're enforcing those too. Because if you think about it, you can have the best policies, you can have the best rules that a company has ever had, but if you're not enforcing those, are people going to take them serious? Yeah, they're not. So you have to enforce those policies. And then you're resolving conflicts too. All right. So if two of your employees are going at each other, maybe it's an employee and a customer, right? You have to step in, kind of be that mediator to resolve those conflicts and make things better. Lastly, a good manager controls. All right. So this is just keeping the company on track. This is taking the proper action when you need. A lot of times it's good to delegate and give your employees the work and make sure they get it done. Sometimes you have to step in and take more action. The big thing is making sure goals are met, right? That's your main job as a manager, is creating the goals and then making sure that they're met. If not, what are you going to do differently? You're monitoring customer satisfaction, right? Because you're always on the lookout for new customers. But one thing that you want is for customers to keep coming back to you. So making sure they're satisfied, trying to improve on that, and monitor your employees, right? Making sure that they're doing the right thing and not wasting the company money. So there's a few different levels of management. The first one would be your top level management. All right, so these are the people who are responsible for setting goals and planning for the future, as well as leading and controlling the work of others. So when you look at top level managers, you're looking at the CEO, which is the chief executive officer. The CEO, a lot of people think the CEO and owner are one and the same, and they're not necessarily, right? You can own a business, especially like a corporation. You can own a majority share and not be the CEO, all right? So the CEO would just be the person you have on the very top in charge of everything else. The president would be technically under the CEO. All right. A lot of times presidents are also what's called the COO, which is the chief operating officer. So they would be under the CEO. You can have a few presidents, right? So if you have a huge corporation, be a president of this part of the corporation, president of this part of the corporation. So again, the CEO and president are not the same. And you can be the owner and the CEO. You can be the owner and the president, but you don't necessarily have to be those things. And then the vice presidents, bigger companies normally have quite a few. So vice president of financing, vice president of marketing, they're just like the people in charge of that certain division. So I imagine here in Westfield, a few of your parents, if they're not business owners, even if they are, they probably also have the title of CEO, president, and vice president. The next level is middle manager. This is kind of where I was in my last company. Middle manager carry out the decisions of the top manager. So in my old position, I reported directly to our CEO. We were a smaller company, so I was in charge of the sales and marketing departments. So I would have been considered a middle manager. So we carry out the decision of the top management. We're often responsible for various departments. like production, marketing, accounting. We're responsible for the organizing function along with leading and controlling others, right? So a big part of that is setting goals, figuring out how to meet those goals. They may do some planning, but usually responsible for carrying out the plans made by the top managers. So typically the CEO has a path they want or a goal they want to achieve. They give that to the middle manager and say, hey, this is what you need to meet. If you want to keep your job or you want to raise, this is what you have to do to earn it. And lastly are operational managers. So operational managers would be like shift supervisors. They'd be the office managers. They'd be crew leaders. These guys are really the most important ones, honestly. I mean, they're the ones that are there on a daily basis. They're running the day-to-day operations. A lot of the people that you guys report to for your jobs, if you're working, would be these operational managers, right? Kind of do the scheduling. They order a lot of the supplies. They make sure that you guys are doing what you're supposed to do. So they really, if you think about it, directly oversee more employees than top level managers, just because they're working with you every day. They're making sure they know you better. They're making sure you're doing what you're supposed to do. All right, so that is it for notes. We'll review this tomorrow too, just to make sure you guys got the gist of it. So today you're going to have a group activity. Mrs. Moore will pass that out here momentarily. Then you have a worksheet to do if you're done with that. And then if you're done with your worksheet and you finish the group activity, you can work on your Super Bowl commercial extra credit. If you're not going to do that, just sit at your desk quietly, be respectful, and work on other work. But I definitely miss you guys. I'll see you tomorrow. Have an excellent